One thing I did notice in a lot of recruitment agency operations is that a lot of the times when a new job comes in, they have to manually go into their talent pool and find the candidates that best fit that particular job that they're trying to place. So this is a system that will remove that admin work and take care of it and just notify the recruiter at the end the top matches for that particular job, so that the recruiter can go in and reach out to them to get them a comment for interview or anything that they need from them. So this is part 2 of the AI recruitment coordinator. If you have not seen part 1, it's going to be linked in the description to do what you watch, because a lot of the things are going to come from there. For a quick review, here's what the system looks like. So what we are going to do is watch for new jobs when they are created. When the new jobs are created, we go into search our candidates database for candidates that are still available, because of course in our database we're going to have candidates in different stages: the ones that we are currently interviewing for a role, the ones that we have placed already, the ones that we have sent offer letters to, the ones that we rejected, maybe they're problematic or something, and the ones that we have accepted, right? So we want to search our database for the candidates that are in the place or are in the stage where we are trying to place them. So in your case, you might have a different name for that particular stage. I use accepted, but you can use maybe new, you can use open, whatever you currently use is what you want to filter by now. So now that we have that candidate, we're going to go in and use AI to screen the candidate qualification against the job description, and then we go in, if they are a good fit, we go in and create a record in a table. I have a special table that I call matches, where we put in all the candidates that we have matched for a particular job, so that way we are able to say how many candidates are we have matched and I ended up placing. That gives us good data in our recruitment agency. So we actually need that as well. So once we are able to create that record in our matches database or matches table, we go in and generate a message that we're going to send in as email to them. But in this case, I'm creating a draft because I need the recruiter to go and review it, make changes if need be, and go ahead and forward it. But once we have created the draft in our email, we are going to accumulate all the matches that we have created by descending order from the top to the lowest, and then send it to a recruiter on Slack. So now let's just go in and build this real quick. So we go in and create a scenario here. So the first thing that we want to do is watch Airtable, and we will watch for records. And of course my connection already exists. If yours doesn't, just click on add and you'll be able to add your connection. And then the base here is candidates, and my table here is jobs. That's what I'm watching for. So the trigger field is created, and then the label is job ID, and we can return, let me just return 1 for this, and I save this. So whenever we create that new job, it triggers this to run, right? So we add another module here which searches our candidates database. So we do search records here, and then we search our candidate database here for the base, and then we do candidates here, and then we can leave the view as it is. It really doesn't matter. What matters is our formula here. I like to copy what's here and just make the changes. So as you can see in my candidates database, you can see that I have come down to this side. I have what I call what's it now, status here. So I want to take accepted to be my status with that I'm working with. So I can also change this to accepted, just so I can accept it here. So I can now go back in here, and here's my formula. So I'm going to change status to, and always make sure that you write this exactly the way it is. So status is a capital A and accepted is a capital A. If you make any mistake, it's not going to return anything for you. So we do accepted here, and then we can set the limit to say 3, and then we can save this, and we will save this. I don't know why it keeps bringing this up every time. We'll save this, and then we'll save this. The next thing that we're going to do now is to bring our OpenAI module to analyze their or screen their credentials, their CV, or their everything that we need about them is already in the database. So when we pull up their data, we're already getting everything that we need. So we are going to screen that data that we have about them from their the database against the job description that we now have. So we're going to do OpenAI here. And then of course you're going to generate a completion. I'm just going to copy my prompt from this one here because it's going to be the same thing. So let's just do what we have here already. So we are going to do, I like to go lower for the model. So we can do 4, 4 mini. And then we add a message here, and the first one is going to be developer, and here is what I have, right? So I'm just going to change this. So job description, of course, is going to come from the job itself. So we see the job description here now, and then the candidate profile is going to come from the skills that we have here. So we have skills in here. So we'll take that, the experience. We're going to do, there should be experience here. So we'll do experience here, and then the location here. We'll do location here, and then the expected salary here. Of course, you can do every other thing as well as their certifications, their availability, every other thing, right? You can always put that. There is no limitation to how much data you can provide. The more data you provide, the better you get, the better screening process it's going to have. But for this, demo, we are just going to stick with this. This is okay for us. So we'll save this, but make sure yours is better so that you can get better, output. So we'll save this, and then we'll save this. Of course, the next thing that we are going to do is pass a JSON, because as you can see here, what we are telling you to return after screening these is to score them from 0 to 100, also state their strength and also their weaknesses and the recommendation, right? So all of that is going to be bundled up in a JSON. So we are just going to go ahead and extract that. Of course, I already showed you how to create a JSON, so I don't think I want to do that again here. The first video shows how to create a JSON. So I'm just going to work with my already established JSON here, and then I go in here and I put the result here, and I save this, and I save this. Of course, I saved that anyways. So the next thing I'm going to do now is go into our matches database, like I did say. This is what it looks like, and create the job description, and create the candidate, right? So we're going to go in now and do Airtable, and we're going to create a record, and we're going to do the base here to be candidates database, and we're going to do the table here to be matches, and then the score here is going to come from here, and then the candidates here will come from this record ID that we have here, because this is our candidate, and then the job will come from the first one because that's ID, and then the reason can be this recommendation, and we can also add, we can have like a separate a separate table for a separate field for weakness and strengths if that's what we prefer, or we can just put everything in here, whatever works, right? You are the one running so whatever works is still fine. So let's say we put all of this in here. We do strength, and we do column, and then we put this in there, and then we do weaknesses, and then we do and then after that we do recommendation, and then we do this. So yeah, so are we sent? Nope. So we have not sent that yet. So we do to do, because we are going to create that to send, and then when we are when the recruiter goes in to review it and send, we can come back and make the changes here to done, right? So yeah, so that's mostly what we need here. But of course, if you need more details, you can as well just create that in your your matches table, and also ask the AI to give you more details. So we can save this, and we can save this. So the next thing that we're going to do here is call an AI module that is going to generate a message, to send to an email message that we are going to send to the candidates, telling them, oh, we just got this new job offer. Would you be interested in checking it out? Or would you be interested in, having an interview about it, right? We just want to see if they're still available for a job. So we do OpenAI here, and we'll generate a completion. And I'm going to stick with my prompt. So I'm just going to come back here and copy prompt here, and then I'll do this, and then my model here going to do lower, say 4 minutes, and I'm going to add a message, and I'm going to do what's it called? I'm going to do developer, and then I'm going to do the text content to be here. So the candidate's name is so skills is so any other thing you need to put here, right? You can as well do that. And then the what's it called? The job title is this one right here. So yeah, you can see here, I'm telling you to write a personalized outreach email for candidates, presented the details, explain why this opportunity matches the background, especially professional but conversational, and return output as a beautifully formatted HTML, so it can be properly formatted in the recipient inbox. Return only the HTML, no backgrounds, no words, right? So we save this. So the next thing that we're going to do is actually go in and create the draft email so that the recruiter can review and get them. So what you're going to do, something that I did forget to do, is these matches, right? We don't want to create a match for candidates that are not a good match, because if we are searching through our database, we can see candidates that we have accepted, but they're not a good fit for this particular job. So we don't want to create that in our matches database. We want to create only candidates that are high enough. So we are looking at candidates that are from, say, 50, or we can do 70. Their score against, matching them against the job, they score like, say, from 70, because that would be a good fit, meaning that we are only placing candidates that are very qualified. So we don't want to create so we don't want to place underqualified candidates on all of that, because that would tarnish our reputation as a recruitment agency. So we are going to go in and create a filter here. So we'll say qualified. You can call this qualified, and then what we are going to say is if the score here, and then we'll do numeric, and then we'll say greater than, right? Greater than or equal to, let's do 60. So from anybody that is not greater than 60 will not be created in that database, because we're only trying to place high candidates. We don't want to place any candidates that are not a good fit for the job or all of that. So we're going to save this. So now candidates that are not a good fit for the job will not be created in our matches, and we won't draft any message for them, because they're not a good fit. They might not make the cut. So we are only going to be working with candidates that are a good fit and probably make the cut. So now we come back here and we add a module. So what you're going to do now is draft our email. So what you want to do is create a draft. And then I'm going to go in here and establish my own connection. Of course, depending on what email provider you're using, you can let me know. You can Google on how to establish connection with your email provider. If you're using Google like I am, I have a video showing how to establish a Google connection. And we're going to do draft here. And to our recipient here, the email address is going to come from here. When we have searched it and the subject is now, maybe we have something for you. Whatever you can, of course, when the recruiter is reviewing this, you can change the subject, make every changes that you need, and then you save this and we save this. What you're going to do now is go in and notify our recruiter that there is a new match for a job, so that they can go in and review. Right, so we are going to do Slack here, and we're going to do send a message, and we are going to do, of course, my own connection already exists. If yours doesn't, just click on add. You'll be able to add your own connection, and of course we enter from the list, or we select from the list, and then our channel name is this. So this is where all of our recruiters are in, and we're going to drop them a message. We're going to say something like, and we're going to say something like, there is a new match. So we are going to do this. So a new match for we put this job title, and we can also put the candidate here, candidate's name. The candidate's name can of course come from here. So the candidate's name can come from here, and then we can say match core. can come from here. Any other details that you want to provide to the recruiter, you can go ahead and do that, right? So we save this, and of course we save this. And of course we save this. So now that we have this, we can go ahead and run this one time to see what you're going to get. Let's see if we will get, so we don't have anyone that fit. Okay, the last one fits, so yeah, that's good. So it has created a new match for us. Yeah, so Emily Carter match score is 60, so that's good, right? So now it has created a draft for us. So if we go into our inbox, we go into our draft right now. So we can see this now. We have something for you. So yeah, so if the okay, so look at this exciting software engineer opportunity. Of course, this is supposed to be the subject. So that's why we need a recruiter on this to review. So the recruiter can make all the changes. So what does it say here? I hope you're doing well. I came across your profile and was really impressed on your expertise with Python, especially your work building scalable APIs and automating data workflows. So that's all the things that, like I said, we have the candidates data, so we know everything about them. We are looking for a software at tech investors, INEC, who leverage their Python skills to create, implement or our next generation micro. So of course, you make all the changes that you need to make here. The person can even view the job description here and all of these. So this is beautiful. You can, make changes to whatever you want to do, and then you go ahead and forward this to the candidate. So that means that our system is working just fine. So of course, this you could change, some of the things for how you currently work. Like I always say, this is not a rigid thing. You always have to think about it from the standpoint of how you're currently working in your recruitment firm, and then you can make the tweaks and changes to the system. But the bottom goal of this is for this system to help your recruiters screen and match candidates from your talent pool against the new job that comes in, so that at the end of the day, recruiters only see the top matches for that job and only take care of reaching out to those ones and getting to book an interview with them. I really hope you found this video useful. If you did, make sure to subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up. It encourages me to keep posting. And if you run a recruitment agency and you really want to cut down on the operational work that is currently going on and all the repetitive admin that is currently going on in your agency, then you might want to book a strategy call with me. My link is going to be in the description. Thank you so much for sticking around. I'm going to be seeing you in my next one.